Conservative Party of Canada's leadership race has come and gone, ending with a painfully slow announcement that crowned Erin O'Toole as the party's new leader. Drea Humphrey here with Rebel News, and now that the CPC leadership race has concluded, I gather it's brought some clarity for everyone involved regarding how they can now properly prepare for the next Canadian election, which rumor has it may be happening sooner than we think. So what about the People's Party of Canada, founded and led by Maxime Bernier? After narrowly losing the last Conservative leadership race to Andrew Scheer in 2018, Bernier resigned, stating that he had come to realize over the past year that this party is too intellectually and morally corrupt to be reformed. After that, he launched his own party, the People's Party of Canada. So how have Bernier's opinions on the CPC changed, if at all, now that O'Toole has been named the new leader? And how does Bernier's own party plan to win more Canadians over in the next election? I sat down to interview Bernier to discuss just that and more, and here's what he had to say. I'm here with Maxime Bernier, Mad Max. How are you doing today?
Fine, thank you very much.
Good. Tell me about that nickname, Mad Max. Is that something you like being called?
When I'm mad, absolutely yes, and now with what happened with the Conservative Party of Canada, I'm not the only one who's mad. I think a lot of Conservatives are disappointed today after the election of Erin O'Toole. Because the real Erin O'Toole is a progressive conservative, red Tory, and out west, I understand the challenges that you're having, and he doesn't have the answer for that.
So in the past, when you resigned from the Conservative Party, you said you did so because the party has become too intellectually and morally corrupt. Do you think that's going to change at all with the O'Toole leadership?
No, I don't think so. I think it's a proof that it's real. When I was campaigning for the leadership of the Conservative Party of Canada in 2017, Erin O'Toole was a candidate. And at that time, that was the real Erin O'Toole, the red Tory Erin O'Toole, the progressive conservative Erin O'Toole. And he didn't have any bold policies, any ideas. And for this campaign for the leadership of the Conservative Party, Erin O'Toole put a mask on, saying that it's a blue conservative. But people will realize soon that the mask will fall and will know the real Erin O'Toole, the one that is a centrist and globalist. Actually, early Monday morning, when he delivered his speech, he said in this speech that he wants to have support and votes from centrist liberals and NDPs. And he didn't say anything about the alienation of Western Canadians. I didn't speak about that. Didn't speak about solving the deficit and the debts that we have, being sure that we'll be able to build a pipeline in this country by using the Constitution, the Article 9210, and impose a pipeline for being sure that it would serve the interests of all Canadians. That was not in his platform, so it was only a buzzword to be able to win the leadership. And his goal was to have the support of less well-known candidates like Leslie Lewis and Derek Sloan. So I think these supporters, people who voted for Leslie or Derek, they will be disappointed, and that will come soon, because Erin is not a real true blue or real fiscal conservatives. He's a globalist. He wants to actually sign the Paris Accord and impose more regulations and tax for fighting against climate change. He believes in climate alarmism. So all these people will be disappointed.
So who then do you think was more deserving to win the CPC race?
You know, we didn't have any conservative. I think right now I'm the only conservative in this country. You know, being a conservative, it is fighting for your values. That's what I'm doing with real conservative values. You know, individual freedom and personal responsibility, respect, and fairness. And that's our platform at the People's Party of Canada. We want to be sure that we'll tackle the deficit, will cut the CBC, will do the reforms that needs to be done to be sure to have a freer and a more prosperous country. And we will fight for all Canadians, and we won't pander to any special interest group. But the Conservative Party of Canada, like I said, when I resign, is actually intellectually and morally corrupt. And the example of that is the way that they're doing politics. They try to please everybody. They are pandering to special interest groups. They just want to be in government without any values or strong ideas. And what Mr. O'Toole said after his leadership is his goal is to have more support from the left. So the party now is a central left political party. We are the only conservative or right-wing political party in Canada. And so, you know, that's why there's a huge opportunity for us at the People's Party. We will be able to have more support for these from these conservatives that are disappointed.
So, with the last run of the election, we saw Andrew Scheer marginalize his rivals. Do you think we're going to see a repeat of that with O'Toole and Derek Sloan, for example?
Absolutely. You know, Derek Sloan had a good platform, and I think he took a lot of our ideas that I put forward during the leadership in 2000, during my run for the leadership in 2017. But, you know, I tried to, when I was a conservative, to be sure that our conservative values would be part of the platform for the next election. And Andrew Scheer at that time said, no, these ideas are too extreme. And that would be the same thing with Derek. They want to be able to please people in Montreal, Toronto, and Vancouver, so to gain more votes, and they won't be conservative anymore. And I think Derek will be disappointed personally.
So you said earlier in this interview that you're the only conservative, but you're mentioning Sloan as though he's a conservative. So is it true that you don't think Derek Sloan was running the race with conservative values, or Dr. Leslyn Lewis?
Yeah, Derek, absolutely. I must say that Derek had a real conservative platform. Actually, you're right. That's why I'm saying he will be disappointed that because O'Toole and the establishment of the Conservative Party of Canada won't take any of his ideas like they did to me in the past. So I think he's wasting his time with the Conservative right now. Like I said, you know, he is welcome, and all his supporters are welcome in our party. We won't change. You know, we have the same platform, and we're doing politics differently based on principles and without any compromise with our principles. And we have the courage of our conviction. You know, we're not trying to please everybody. We are saying what is important for the future of this country. And our goal is to continue to fight for freedom and also fighting for keeping our national sovereignty and not giving any of our power to the UN or another organization like the World Health Organization. You know, we need to have our policies that are approved and written in Canada by Canadians, member of parliament, not by the UN, like the Migration Compact. And that's another example. O'Toole is for the Migration Compact, is for the Paris Accord. He wants to, on foreign aid, you know, is like the Liberals. I don't see any difference. He said during his campaign that it would be good to give foreign aid to Saudi Arabia. So why? You know, they're a rich country. We must cut foreign aid and help Canadian first. That's part of our proposal.
Let's talk about your Twitter, your tweet.
Yeah.
Your congratulations to Aaron O'Toole after winning was quite comedic, I would say, in some ways. His face was completely red. He said, "Congratulations to Aaron O'Toole, new leader of the Liberal Light Party." Can you explain that tweet?
Well, it's like I just said, if you look at the policy, what is important for Canadians? The equalization is important. The equalization formula is unfair for every province, Quebec and Alberta and BC. He doesn't want to touch that. He doesn't want to change the equalization formula for being less generous, and we need a new formula that would be fair for everybody. So that's the same position than the Liberals on the equalization. And he's like the Liberals on Western alienation. He doesn't want to tackle that. People out west want to be sure that they would be able to build the pipelines. And he has the same platform of the Liberals on that. He won't use a constitution to impose, and I'm using the word impose a pipeline on provinces that don't want any pipeline because it's too important for the unity and the prosperity of our country. So that's like the Liberals. On cutting, subsidies to businesses. It's not fair to tax a small business entrepreneur in Vancouver and forcing him to pay tax and giving that to Bombardier or GM. We must cut subsidies to businesses. No more corporate welfare. Is an O'Toole has the same policy than Justin Trudeau on that. So I can go on and go on policies. They're the same. That's why I'm saying, it's their liberal, it's the Conservative Party of Canada right now. It's a liberal light party. And I like to call them also the LibCon party, liberal conservative altogether, because they have the same, and also they're doing politics. They're doing politics by pandering to different special interest group, and Aaron O'Toole also believed that in Canada we have a systemic racism. I don't believe that, and I think it's an insult to Canadians. So like Justin Trudeau, and that's why I think that tweet was a very good one.
So, if you don't believe in systemic racism, what's your stance on the defund the police movement happening in Canada right now?
We must do the opposite. We must give all the resources that they need. That we must do the opposite, and that's our position. I think it's clear. The role of a government, first of all, is to give security to Canadians. And the security, if you want to live in a free and prosperous country, first of all, you need to be able to live in a country that will take care of your security. I think it's the first job of a government, and that's why we must give more money to our forces and also our police all across the country. It's something that O'Toole won't speak. It is also like Justin Trudeau. It's all about political correctness. For them, we have to please everybody and pay attention to everything that we're saying. But at the end, they don't have the courage to solve the challenges that we are having in this country. And I think people, like I said, in a couple of days or a month from now, conservatives across the country will be very disappointed. They will see the real Aaron O'Toole.
Now, you say over the next couple of months, we'll see disappointed people from the Conservative Party. But according to the Conservative Party, they had a record amount of members actually vote with them this time around. So what is the PPC's membership looking like right now?
Our membership, when we created that party a year ago, we had the election at the same year. So, and we were able to have 1.6% of the votes. We did better than the Green Party. It took 20 years and 6 elections for the Green Party to have more than 1.6% of the votes. We did that in 1 year, in our first year. So we made history, and we had a surplus at the end of last year, about $500,000. The Green, the Bloc Québécois, Liberals, they all had deficit. So we have money in bank. We'll be ready for the next election. And about our membership, last year we had about 30,000 members. So for a new party, it's a lot, and that will grow. I can tell you that when the election will start, we will have candidates in every riding, and will be very competitive because we will fight for our country, for Canadians. We are the only party who's putting Canada first and Canadians first. And you just have to read our policies and people will understand what I mean by that.
Has your party seen any change in interest right after O'Toole was announced as the leader, or?
No, actually, no. It's a huge opportunity for us. I think that our membership will grow, our donation will grow, and people, because, people who voted for O'Toole for fixing the alienation of Westerners, there's no solution there. We have the best platform for that. People who are looking for a no to globalist politics, we are the only one going to put our country first and won't send foreign aid to every country. We will work for Canadian first. So these people will be disappointed. People who want a real fiscal conservative philosophy, they will be disappointed. Andrew Scheer said at the last election that he will need 5 years to balance a budget with a deficit of $20 billion. Now with a deficit of $343 billion, how many years O'Toole will take? 25 years, 50 years to balance that? We'll see, but he won't be able to balance that in one term because he won't tell Canadians what we need to cut to be sure to achieve that. And we were very out loud of that. We said we must cut the CBC. We can save $1.2 billion. We can cut foreign aid. We will save $4 billion. We can cut also corporate welfare. We will save about $5 billion. So you need to tell the truth to the population, and we're doing that. So that's why I think we have a great future. That's only the beginning, and we'll see what will happen. And for me, the most important is to be back in the House as soon as possible as a member of Parliament. So that's why if there's a by-election next spring and we don't have a general election, so I'll be there. And our goal is to be back in Parliament to be able to have the opportunity to change the politics in this country by debating with all these leftist politicians in Ottawa right now.
There have been major speculation that we might see an election as early as this coming fall. What's your opinions on that? Will we be seeing an election soon?
I don't think so. First of all, Justin Trudeau can have the support of the NDP or the Bloc Québécois. He only needs support of one political party in Ottawa. And I think that we may be in election maybe this spring. And so after a budget, but our party will be ready. The most important for us is to be out there and speak to Canadians, and I will be back on the road as soon as I can because of the COVID-19 restrictions. I'll be actually in Vancouver this September, early September, to do a rally and meeting our former candidates. We are in a process to select our candidates for the next election. So we'll be ready, and if the election is this spring, we'll be there, and we will make a difference.
So let's talk about the pandemic a little bit more. If you were Prime Minister, how would you have handled things differently, or would it have been looking pretty much the same?
Oh, no, differently. First of all, the big mistake that the Trudeau government did, it's not closing their border in the beginning. So the first thing, and I was saying that actually, I did a video on that, I did some interview on that at that time, and Justin Trudeau, I don't know if you remember that, but we're saying that the people who want to close our border are racist. That was he was saying that. So And no, our goal was just to protect Canadians. So first, that would be a big difference. Second, no lockdown. So why having a lockdown and killing the economy, killing jobs? So the lockdown was a big mistake. Look at other countries that didn't do a lockdown, and they had per capita the same result after COVID in February, March, and April. So I'm thinking about Sweden and other countries that did not lock down their economy. So that must be two things that the government did, and for me, I think that was a big mistake. And now we are paying for that. We are in a recession, and we may be in a depression also. So economically, it's not going well in our country right now. So, and all the mandatory masks, you can question that. Why in the beginning the government was telling us that, if you wear a mask, it won't change anything. So, and now they're saying it's so important. I think people are free and responsible, and I think government are imposing too many restrictions on our freedom right now.
Would you have declared the pandemic as over by now?
Absolutely, it is over by now. We have in my own province of Quebec, we have only 50 cases in hospital. And people, we may have the second wave this fall or this winter, but at the end, we know how to deal with it. And I think it's not by having another lockdown or imposing severe restrictions on our freedom that will help.
So a lot of what you say is the opposite of what we hear constantly in mainstream media. You're talking about no systemic racism, funding the police, and the idea that the pandemic should be over. So how would the People's Party of Canada, how would they get their voice out there in media and really speak and connect to the people with having such a different narrative?
That's a good question. Actually, first by speaking with you, you're a credible media, and I'm very pleased that I had this opportunity today. Second, yes, it is a little bit more difficult for us to be in the mainstream media. Actually, I did a press conference last Monday after when O'Toole was elected the leader, and I had a pretty good coverage on the mainstream media on my press conference. So it's a little bit more difficult, but that's why my goal as the leader of the People's Party is to travel across the country and doing a rally over there, and at the same time also interview with a local newspaper and local radio station. So it would be an important way to be in the mainstream local media. But at the same time, we must not forget the social media. And I think a lot of people are taking their news only on social media. So that's why we have a YouTube account, a People's Party of Canada /official, my Twitter account, Maxime Bernier. I'm now on also Instagram, and I'm using that to deliver our message to Canadians, and that's going well. So it's we are using all the tools that we have to be sure that Canadians will hear from us. But you're right, the biggest challenge that we have, it's about 80% of the population don't know that we exist. So we just have to be out there. And right now, it's not too bad. We are at 4% in the poll, and we're not so present in the national news. The more will be out there, the better will be for the party and for Canadians.
So I agree with you. A lot of people are getting their news off of social media right now, but there's a huge issue with censorship, including those with conservative values. So how would you handle that if you were Prime Minister?
Yeah, all that, deplatforming and censorship, we must be vigilant. And so, I'm on Twitter right now, and I'm very active on Twitter. But is there one solution for that? I think that it's very difficult. You must, start by with I think the federal government can be very clear with university that receive grants from the government. You must have a free speech policy, and if not, you won't receive any money. Can we do something with the big Twitter and YouTube and Google? I know that in the US they're having the debate. I think that we must have that debate here. We must have a parliamentary committee that must look at it. It's a priority for Canadians. I'm very realistic right now. I don't have one solution to solve that. But I think we need to look at what happened in other jurisdictions. I know that in Australia, they did hearings about it. So I think we must start to have a national debate, and we must find a solution, because we cannot tolerate that. These platforms are platform, and their role is not to censor people.
So media, you said, is a challenge for you. But what about things like having a modest budget, and also what about not having any MPs? How are you guys going to overcome that when running in the next election?
Yeah, but that's why I want to run in the first by-election, and so to be back in government as soon as possible. Not in government, sorry, in parliament as soon as possible. And yes, if I look at the Reform Party, when the Reform Party out west started, I didn't have any MP in the beginning. It was a movement, and after that, a political party. And at the second election, they were able, the first one and the second election, they were able to have MPs. So for us, we built a new party in 1 year, the year of an election, and now we are in a second year. So it's a challenge. It's a huge challenge. But I'm very optimistic, because I'm speaking the truth. I'm speaking what I believe is right, based on principles. And I think people are not used to that. People are fed up with traditional establishment politicians. They want to hear the truth, and I'm speaking with Canadians like they're adults and not children. I want them to understand the challenges that we're having with the budget, with the leftists, the deplatforming, and all that. Our freedom is in danger. So the more I speak, the better it is for our party, because I think I'm able to have support from people. And a lot of people told me at the last election, especially out west, Maxime, we like your platform. You're saying everything that is great for this country, but we want to be sure to get rid of Justin Trudeau, and we don't want to split the vote. So a lot of people voted for the Conservative, but at the end, I think they liked our platform. So our challenge next time will be to tell them, vote for your ideas, vote for what you believe in. Don't vote against something. And, we just need to be 1, 2, or 3 in Ottawa, and we'll be able to influence politics in this country. So that will be our message. If you believe in this country, if you want our country to be to keep our sovereignty and fight for our national interest, and fighting for all Canadians and putting Canadian first. You look at our platform, we're the only party who speak about it without any political correctness. And I'm saying what must be said, and I think people appreciate that. So that's why I'm saying the next election will be I think another way for us to build our party, and we may have more than one MP elected after the next election.
Mm-hmm. And just backtracking back to the pandemic, do you think that there's one region or one province that has done a good job with how they've handled the pandemic so far?
No, I look at every province had a regulation, and that the government wanted, these government at the provincial level and federal level wanted to govern without their legislative assembly, without their parliament. And usually when you have a crisis, it's time to have debate, because when you have a debate, the best ideas will be the one that people will take. It's always good to have debates. I remember, I've read during the First World War, Churchill and the Parliament in London was open, and they had debate at that time. And here we decided to shut down the government in Ottawa, and provinces did the same thing, and they use a lot of powers that was not useful for fighting the coronavirus. So I think that if you look at what provinces and the federal government did together, I think they were too far, and that's why we must ask our freedom back.
All right. So in closing, I will ask a lighter question, but something that actually people can get to know you a little bit better. If you were stranded on a deserted island, what would be 2 items you'd bring that have nothing to do with survival?
I'll bring a book. The one will be Human Action. And because I think it's important, your viewers can read it. And the second one will be 2 things, that book, and the second one, Human Action. It's a good one. Maybe another book that I really enjoy, Ayn Rand. It's just to relax a little bit, and Atlas Shrugged. So that will be my second book. So if I'm there alone, I think I will read again these 2 books.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mad Max. It was a pleasure talking with you today. And let me know about the upcoming event in Vancouver. I'd love to check that out.
I will. Thank you very much.
All right. You take care. So what do you think about what Bernier had to say? Will the PPC pull in more votes during the next election? And do you think the CPC could have won the last election if Bernier had been the leader instead of Andrew Scheer? Drea Humphrey for Rebel News. With corruption continuing to taint Canada's democracy, it's more important than ever to support fearless and independent journalism like we bring you here at Rebel News. If you'd like to support us in continuing to hold the Liberals accountable for their involvement with the We charity, please head to auditwe.com and help us force a real investigation into the We charity scandal. We appreciate your support.